Hello, friends and fellow board gamers. Welcome back to another episode of Board Games with Rob. Today, I am so excited to be joined here with two very special people, and these are two of my daughters. I have 9 children. I'll introduce yourself.
I'm Alena. And I'm Kiersten.
And how old are you?
I'm 12. And I'm 10.
And what grades are you in?
Seventh, fourth.
Seventh and fourth. All right, we are here to talk about Cascadia. We're going to give a little bit of an overview, talk about how the game plays, and then we'll come back here and talk about what we thought about the game and give it our rating. All right, so let's go down to the table and let's talk about Cascadia. So Cascadia has gotten a lot of hype, and more than likely you've either played it already or have heard of it. There's been a lot of other games similar to it coming out. Harmonies comes to mind, but Cascadia is at its heart a tile laying and pattern building game. You're going to be having right from the onset, you're going to be picking 5 different animals, and you're going to be picking from a deck of cards. Like, for example, here's the different bear cards that you can pick. You'll pick one of these cards for the bear, and you'll do that for each one of the different cards. And they're each going to have a scoring a way to score points for the animal. So in this case, with the bear, you'll score for every pair of bears. Hey, that rhymed. Every pair of bears. And then depending upon how many you have, you'll score that amount of points at the end of the game. This card here, you have to have that exact pattern of 3, and you'll score 10 points. Here's another one that, based upon the different patterns, you'll score a different amount of points for the amount of them you have. So you kind of get what's going on. Each one of the cards is going to have a variety of different ones to pick from to choose to start your game. And then you're going to have everybody's going to start with this trifold tile that's composed of 3 different tiles, terrain tiles. And that's the other way you're going to score, is by having large groups of terrain. So the game is really simple. You're going to play a number of turns based upon the player count. You'll be pulling and putting aside these tiles from the box, and depending upon how many players you have, and then you'll set up 4 different piles, pairing them with animal tiles. And this is all random. You'll be pulling them from a bag. The game comes with a really nice cloth bag, and I use this to store the animal tokens, and then I just store the habitat tiles inside the box, and then I make sure to randomize them, put them in however many stacks based upon the player count. So herein lies the main part of the game, and the dilemma or the decision point you're going to have is which pair to pick, because that's what you got to do, is you've got to pick a pair of a habitat tile and an animal. Now there's a way to break that rule, and I'll explain that here in a little bit. But so you'll make one of the 4 choices, and let's say that I want to pick, oh, I don't know. Well, in this case, it's kind of neat because the animal is matching the tile. So and that'll make sense here in a second. So I would pick this habitat, and I want to have large areas of the same habitat. The threefold tile will give you each of the 5 different habitats that you have to start out with. There's like mountains and plains and desert and forest and ocean. And so we'll put these 2 together, and then you have to take your animal, and you can only put it on a tile that has the matching animal. So let's say I put this right here, and then my turn's done. Then you would flip over another tile from the stack you've got, draw another tile. Here I drew a salmon, and then it's the next player's turn. A couple unique things about the game is, if you ever have 3 of the same animal token, then the player whose turn it is can decide if they want to wipe out those 3 and draw 3 new ones. They don't have to. However, if all 4 are the same, then it's mandatory. You take all 4, you put them aside, you draw 4 new ones, and then you put those back. So each person is going to have their own starting tile, and they'll be building their habitat, from that tile. Now, you'll notice that they have these little pine cones out on the table. Now, these are worth certain points, a certain number of points, and you'll get them whenever you place on these oh, I forget what they're called, keystone tiles, I believe. They're the ones that have this little arrow and the little pine cone symbol. So for example, on my next turn, let's say that I picked, oh, I don't know, let's say this tile, and I'll put it next to my ocean, and then I'll put this salmon on this tile right here. Well, now that I've placed it on a keystone tile, I can take one of these pine cones. Now, what the pine cone will allow you to do, and by the way, I would flip over another tile and then grab another token here. I got an elk. What the pine cone will allow you to do is break the rule of having to pull a set, a paired up set of tile and token underneath of it. This will allow you to pick a tile and a different animal than the one that's underneath of it and place those, and then you would cash in your pine cone and place those out on the board. Again, trying to make um, matching terrains, and then you'd restack. Now that I will say the pine cones are worth a point each at the end of the game. So, therein lies a little bit of a decision. Do I want to cash them in, or is it worth keeping them? Because they will rack up by the end of the game. And let's see, the way that you score, it comes with a fancy little score pad, which well, here's a game that we had played a little while ago, just the other day, me and Alena and Kiersten, and you can see all the different things you're gonna score for your animals at the top section, and then in the bottom you'll score for your habitats. So you'll score 1 point each for your largest habitat of that particular type, and then whoever has the largest one of those will score some extra bonus points depending upon your player count. And then you'll at the bottom you'll score your pinecone tokens, and then you'll add everything up, and that's your final score. You can see here it was a pretty close score, 65. Alena won. You'll see her again here in a second, and then I came in second, and Kate came in just a point behind me. In fact, we thought she was gonna to beat me, so it was a really close game for playing with them. And so it's very simple. There's an expansion out already. I have not played the expansion yet. It adds some more cards and some landmark tokens to the game, and which provide different ways of scoring, and some more of the habitat tiles. The I will say the tiles are really thick, very good quality. The cards are have this like linen finish on it. They are very nice and sturdy. And these tokens are really thick as well. The animal tokens, they're wooden tokens, really nice artwork. Artwork is great. I mean, it's Beth Sobel, and she does such wonderful art. And it comes with a really nice bag. I really like the drawstring bag, and fits all my tokens in there. And the box is not super big. Everything fits real nicely in the box. So yeah, that is Cascadia, a really fun game. So let's have everybody come back, and we will talk about what we thought about the game as people kind of morph in here and become invisible or become visible. So I got this specifically. I had played Harmonies, and Harmonies has a little bit more complexity. I'll probably be doing a video on that here in the near future. And I kind of wanted an entry level game in that like tiling series to introduce to my girls before I went up to that. And so I got Cascadia. What did you guys think about it? How'd you like it? Alena, let's start with you.
I thought it was like a really nice game.
Really nice game. What'd you like about it?
I liked how the instructions weren't really like hard to understand, and it was just simple, and all the different mechanics parts of it, like
Wrote the animals.
yeah, all the different animals and how you can have different types of animals.
Yeah, Kirsten, what did you think?
I really liked it.
What was one of your favorite parts of the game?
I like how they um draw the pictures. The artwork on it was really good, and you have to think through it.
Yep, you have to kind of think ahead because I noticed you were really smart because you kind of picked up on you were wanting to pick like tiles with an animal that you were wanting to place, but you couldn't necessarily place it right away because the animal tile didn't match the respective the habitat tile didn't have an icon for the animal, so you were forced to kind of think ahead, weren't you, with how to place things.
Yeah.
What was one of your favorite animals to play, Kay?
Um, I kind of like the bears.
The bears. Yeah, they kind of look like like a little mama bear and a little baby bear on that one with the two. Now, Alena did what animal were you going for, Alena?
Salmon.
The salmon. Yeah, she had a huge they score based upon on this particular card anyway, having just a long string of them, and she had it maxed out. She got like 25 points on that, and one of the big reasons why she had won. But it wasn't a big, even though she had focused on that, and that's another cool thing I should talk about, is she went heavy on salmon and didn't have a lot of the other animals, yet the points weren't so disparate. They weren't so far apart. Whereas like Kiersten, she focused on kind of doing a little bit of everything,
Yeah,
didn't you?
I did everything.
Yeah, I think she did the deer or the elk. I always call them deer.
Yeah,
You did a little bit of the salmon.
I
Yeah,
I think I did everything.
yeah. She had a little bit of everything. Although I don't know that you did much on the. I don't think. How do you think we did on the habitats? It's hard to think of everything, right? As you're playing, like wanting to make sure you're making different large territories while matching the animals, or do you think that was okay?
We had a lot of ties on the habitat.
Yes, we
Yeah.
did. In fact, that's a good point. Where's the scorebook? Oh, here it is. If you look right there at the top, in fact, me and Kay, we had scored the same. Or those are animals.
Yeah.
The habitats down there were pretty close. 664, 444, 433, 122. So I think naturally when you start playing the game, you are drawn to the animals and wanting to make those animal patterns, and also thinking about making those big groups might be second in line. I don't know. What do you guys think? What were you more focused on were you more focused on drawing the tile or the animal?
Um, I was more focused on seeing if my animal was gonna get pulled out,
Yeah.
but also just I was working on salmon, so I was just making sure I had enough for the run.
Yeah, you guys would get excited, wouldn't you, when you pull a certain that was really neat. They'd get all excited when they were drawing animals out of the bag, and they'd yes or or darn it, or they'd get excited when there were like three of the same, right? Because then you could
Oh
wipe it
yeah.
out and get a chance to get some new ones. But yeah, so Kay, what did Alina said that it wasn't that hard to understand. What do you think about the rules?
The
Fairly simple
rules,
game?
yeah, they were fairly simple.
Good. Is it a game you guys would both want to play again?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so now here's the big question. We'll start with you, Alina. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate the game?
8.5.
8.5. That's pretty good out of 10. What would you think,
I
Kay?
was gonna do an 8.5.
8.5. Now, why do you guys think that?
It was just like fairly simple and like I don't know how to say this. It was just an easy game. It was fun and
Yeah.
easy, and
I,
personally, I hate it when you have to sabotage other people, but I didn't really have to sabotage other people in this.
yes, why kids do not like take that games. How about you, Kay? Why do you rate it an 8.5, which
Um,
is pretty high?
basically the same thing as Alina. It was really simple and really fun to play.
Yeah, you guys don't like listening to a lot of rules, and we were able, when we spent a lot of time learning rules, and I think we were able to get into this pretty quick, right? And
Yeah.
start playing. Me personally, I would rate this at this would be more of a 7 for me, which is a really good rating.
Mhm.
And I only say that because I usually like a little bit meatier games. And I'll tell you right now, Harmonies is up a little bit than that, not by much, but we'll look for the Harmonies review here soon. But it was a very nice game. The artwork, it's gorgeous. The components are just fantastic. It's a game that I really I won't be getting rid of. It'll stay in my collection, and it's one that I'll definitely play with the girls again. They really like it. I think Rose, my youngest daughter, she was watching us play and catching some of the things that were going on. I think she liked some of the animals, and
Yeah. She rated it at 10 out of 10.
yeah, I think she said it was a 10 out of
Yeah.
10 for her, and she didn't even play the game. So yeah. So anyway, that's Cascadia. I want to thank Kiersten and Alena for joining me tonight. Hopefully, we will be getting more game reviews together because we do tend to play
of
played quite a
late.
few games, and I would like to start giving my kids' thoughts on some of these games because I know a lot of parents are out there that are looking for games for their kids and would like to get their perspective. So, thank you, Alina. Thank you, Kay, for joining me today. And to everybody watching, thanks for joining and have a wonderful time gaming. Bye, everybody.